Hey and welcome back to my corner. Strange World, a movie that was very controversial when it first came out, being labeled as woke by fellow conservatives. Recently, I was tortured into watching this movie 3 times. Once as initial viewing, once to get this footage, which by the way, I don't own the movie, so you're welcome. And third time editing this video. So is this movie really as bad as people say? Surprisingly, no, but we'll get into that. We're welcome to a very modest place called Abylonia. Now, if you were to guess this takes place in the 1800s, you wouldn't be that far off. Especially because of something from the prehistoric era, also known as a horse and buggy. It turns out that mountains surround Abylonia, and people have been trying to get past them for God knows how long, but everyone's failed, so that's grim. Next, we open up to a comic book, and I'm sure I didn't buy that. Wait, where's my wallet? In it, Jaeger Clyde is acting cool. Even as a life scout, I don't have the bravery to shave with a piranha. Next person introduced is Searcher Clyde, the son of Jaeger Clyde. After that introduction to the Clydes, we come across an expeditionary force in the mountains, led by none other than Jaeger and Searcher. Oh my god, that is one of the most morbid things I've ever seen. Oh wait, never mind. It's a Disney movie, you can't have death. Because of this near-death experience, Jaeger tells everyone to be quiet. And what does Searcher do? He discovers a plant that makes him scream. Then the entire floor of the cave collapses, and then Jaeger saves Searcher. The scene ends with Jaeger and Searcher arguing whether they take home the plant they just found, or they continue the expedition. They disagree because Searcher's not cut out to be an explorer, and they split ways. And Jaeger gives Searcher the compass back home. And yes, this compass is going to be important later for absolutely no reason. Searcher's 40 now and he has a farm. Yeah, apparently that plant he discovered all those years ago had the power of electricity. Meaning this civilization, in 25 years, went from technology that we had in the 1800s to technology that we don't even have now. I mean, either that says this civilization is really smart or that we're really stupid. And honestly, I'm likely to believe the latter. And the plant he had discovered all the way back then has now been named Pando. While Searcher's preparing breakfast, for some reason people on the radio are explaining why Pando's important, as if nobody knew why it was important 25 years after it was discovered. And if this explanation's for the audience, then why did the newsboy explain what it was?
If it weren't for what you discovered, there'd be no power or lights or cars or radios.
We're introduced to Searcher's coffee-needing wife. And it's now time to meet the worst character in the entire movie. Ethan is disgusted by his parents making out. I mean, is he gay or something? Now, you as a sane person are probably thinking, 1, it's normal to not want to see your parents making out, and I agree. And 2, you might be thinking, what does his sexuality have anything to do with this movie? I mean, it's not as if they obnoxiously rub it in your face that he's gay. Oh, wait! While he's working in the fields, he goes to check out his friends because they pull up. Then all of a sudden, Diazo shows up. This is the most forced love story I have ever seen. And that's saying something because I know my mom and dad. I've seen people criticize Attack of the Clones for having a quote-unquote forced love story, even though that story has to do with the entire series. New rule, you can only criticize that forced love story if you criticize this one. For God's sake, this love story has nothing to do with the plot. And I don't mean, nothing as in, it has to do with a tiny amount maybe. No, it has absolutely nothing to do with the plot. Ethan's dad all of a sudden decides to be exactly like my mom whenever I'm outside. Ethan's dad brings up the whole gay thing again. I just realized now that the dog only has 3 legs. I mean, whatever, they're not making a mountain out of an anthill over this. Searcher and Ethan go into town to deliver the Pando. All of a sudden, Searcher has a whatever this is about Ethan becoming just like his dad. In the car, Ethan calls Searcher a pretty good dad.
And the reason this is funny is because it defies what you expect. It's also a massive overreaction, and it shows the symbolism in that Searcher was able to overcome the teaching of his dad.
Shut up!
My son thinks I'm an amazing dad!
And I would not put this past my mom. It's terrifying. While preparing dinner in this extremely extra scene, a giant airship happens to land in their crops. I mean, if you knew this was a farm, why would you land in the crops that give you electricity That just goes to show you women shouldn't drive. And yes, that's a joke that has complete basis in reality. The god-awful driver, known as Callisto, informs Searcher that Pando is dying. So she recruits him to go on this expedition to find the heart of Pando and cure it. Fortunately, Ethan's not allowed to come, so you know this is gonna be a good time.
Here we go, 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 go. On an adventure, the thingamajigger is up and away.
As I alluded to prior, Pando is a centralized system rather than an individual plant. Government officials tracked the route all the way to this area, and then they started digging. Then the entire area collapsed, so now we're going to be flying through that hole.
Clay, come here, listen. We got no idea what's down there. If you want to back out, I could drop you off.
Wait, seriously?
No, I'm just messing with you. Look at your face.
You know, there's a special place in hell for people like that. Ooh, pretty lights. All of a sudden, Searcher's wife shows out of the middle of nowhere to tell us that Ethan, the little brat here, stowed away. Well, that's just great. He's gonna be here for the rest of the movie. I mean, this is as depressing as my middle school love life. All of a sudden, we're under attack by these bird things. Yes, rot in hell. Wifey ends up taking control of the thingamajigger and saving everyone in the process. Then all of a sudden, she goes through this weird membrane. What is this? Searcher should have died from that. The thingamajigger crashes and everyone realizes that this is a strange world. Get it? Because that's the title. We figure out that this strange world is a death trap, and we meet a very strange man. And turns out this strange man is Jaeger? Wow, because this makes the story interesting. Miss Bad Driver herself gives us a rousing speech to repair the ship. Ethan raises the concern of his dad, and Wifey says the best way to help him is to fix the ship. So like the absolute brat Ethan is, he decides to not listen to directives and go run away to find his dad, even though he has no idea where he's going. Wow, the card Diazzo gave him while flirting. Wow. 30 seconds later, another pointless gay love interest reference. This one is him having a conversation with the imaginary Diazzo in his head. Ethan meets whatever this thing is, and coincidentally, this was the very same creature that slapped his dad. The two get friendly and the blue squishy thing leads Ethan to his death. Well, I mean, that would make this movie less painful. Jaeger explains how this world works and that he's been trapped here for 25 years. Instead of going over the mountains, which was that whole expedition at the very beginning, he's now gonna go under the mountains to get to the other side. It turns out that there's some sort of acid lake or ocean that Jaeger can't cross, but now that we have a thingamajigger, we can now cross it by flying over it. Then Searcher asks Jaeger if discovering a whole new world underneath theirs wasn't enough for his expedition. Jaeger says no, the goal is to get to the other side of the mountains. Here comes the revelation that Jaeger's wife left him because she thought he was dead for 25 years. Cut back to the tree-hugging brat. Oh wait, never mind, this scene is completely pointless. Jaeger finds out he now has a grandson. They both realize that Ethan is in danger, so they go to save him. Cut back to Ethan having literally zero common sense. Ethan got distracted by the shiny Pando, and he accidentally hurts this squishy liquidy thing. The Pando burns it and Ethan helps him. The squishy thing regrets its decision to try to kill Ethan and becomes friends with him. It's too late though, because the things he was trying to wake up are now awake and they're trying to kill Ethan. Then all of a sudden Jaeger ruins everything. After ruining absolutely everything, the group makes their escape. But wait, the things trying to kill them are still chasing him. You know what, to be fair, this is actually a pretty good sequence. The rest of the group shows up in their speeder bikes, which surprisingly cannot fly, and they all get cornered. Then the group gets away on another road thing. Searcher and Jaeger get into an argument, and I can't believe the bad driver is actually becoming likable. And to be clear, barely anyone in this movie is actually likable. Searcher is basically just an adult teenager, which is really annoying. Ethan's an actual teenager who's annoyingly eccentric. Jaeger's cool, but he's portrayed as an absolute dumbass. The dog's perfectly fine. Diazzo's not annoying, even though the only reason he exists is to make an extremely forced love story, and it seems as if the bad driver's whole personality is being a leader, but at least Meridian's cool. The group takes a Pando sample, and they keep venturing to the heart of Pando, and Jaeger asks Ethan the fatal question.
Any sweethearts waiting for you back home, huh? Ah, there it is. Who is it?
It's no one.
Diazo. His name is Diazo.
Yeager gives Ethan some pretty toxic dating advice. Searcher notices this fire and barges in. I'm convinced these are the awake versions of sleep paralysis demons. Searcher and Yeager get into an argument about Ethan, and therefore Ethan breaks it up by playing a card game. I can only see how that could go wrong. I guess I was correct, because Searcher and Yeager play the game as if they're trying to kill hostiles, even though how the card game works is how you have to coexist. Wow. Both Searcher and Yeager find this game boring and annoying and stupid, and they have a point, because this is basically a card game version of Animal Crossing, which for the record, I don't think would work as a card game.
No bad guys.
That's just poor storytelling.
Okay, you know what? You want bad guys? Fine. You two are the bad guys. Because you both are annoying me.
I mean, does Ethan not want a taste of his own medicine? I mean, he's the most annoying character in the entire movie. Wow, we're at the burning sea now. We find some weird amoeba things to help us make it to the other side of the burning sea. Why did the thingamajigger just fart? 2 minutes later. Searcher and Yeager decide to have a heartfelt conversation about why they're doing the things they're doing. Then, Meridian, the good driver, decides to be an absolute idiot, giving Ethan the wheel.
If only Diazo could see you now.
Wow, another one. And we discover that he's a bad driver too. The group finally discovers the heart of Pando and tries to save it from these things. Ethan decides to be a damn environmentalist, which, by the way, Ethan, what do you think about an Ohio town basically being nuked with chemicals? Nothing? You don't care. Got it. Wow, teenage tantrum. In the process, Searcher and Ethan both discover what's on the other side of the mountains. Plot twist, the entirety of Abylonia is on a turtle, and that strange world was inside this thing's guts. Well, this whole thing turned into something extremely morbid really fast. And plot twist again, Pando's not a heart, it's a parasite. Ethan and Searcher tell the group that they have to kill Pando because Pando's killing this creature that we're all living on. Even though Pando is the source of electricity that makes their society run, seems very anti-human, but then again, I'm an idiot, so I don't know. Yeager decides to go to the other side of the mountains on his own, and Searcher gives him the compass. Remember, the compass at the very beginning of the movie? Yeah, that one. Well, that protest went well, and it turns out the dog is outside this prison cell thing. So the squishy blue thing goes outside of this cell to tell the dog how to open the door. If he can go out the cell himself, why wouldn't he just open the door himself? But either way, they're out now. So Searcher and Evan go out and destroy Pando. The rest of the squad discovers that they escaped, and they storm the bridge. Before Yeager makes it to the other side of the mountain, he has an important realization that he needs to go help his son.
Aw, that's sweet.
To destroy society as they know it.
What is wrong with him?
Wifey messes with the bad driver, and Searcher tries to dig a hole into Pando, so that this creature's immune system can destroy it. Oh no, Searcher's shovel broke. Then Yeager Clade comes to save the day, and as father and son, they open up a hole. I guess to go with the analogy, the white blood cells tear apart Pando. Pando's now dead, and so is the creature, meaning killing Pando was entirely pointless, and not just pointless, stupid. Oh wait, this whole thing was just a fake out. Turns out the creature is still alive. Then everyone goes to the other side of the mountains. Now everyone really does know they're living on the back of a turtle. Yeager and company rejoice as this is a perfect moment, and they stare off into the ocean. Searcher gets a letter from his son, Ethan. Yeager is reunited with his wife. Ethan and Diazo are now together, and they found a way to generate electricity with wind. Are we forgetting about how wind turbines break all the time? And Yeager's changed to be a farmer like his son. As we zoom out from the farm, we eventually see the planet they're on, and the fact that they're on the back of a turtle. And it's now time to close this 25-cent comic book.
Hey guys, I finally found my wallet. And you know what? Everything's still in it. Except for the 25 cents. So I guess I know what happened to that.
So the ultimate question at the very beginning of this video was, is this movie bad? Now, you heard my answer before, but that was before I watched this movie for a third time. And after watching that movie for the third time, I thought about things I hadn't thought about before. The anti-human messaging, the environmentalism, and the fact that I started hating Ethan even more. So is this really a bad movie? Yes, because it has a pointless plot. And also, this movie really is just a bad hybrid between Animal Crossing and environmentalism. But I think there is one final question. Will I ever show my face? No.